This is the last time I'm taking comment responses or challenges at all. I'm so tired. What's up, everyone? My name's Alpha, and today we're back with another Pokemon challenge video. Today we're on obviously Pokemon Radical Red, and today's challenge will be from the comments saying, can I beat Pokemon Radical Red using only the cosplay Pikachus and only Pikachu clones? And I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this challenge already. Breakdown of the rules: I have to use Pikachu and the Pikachu clones. As you can see, there's a long list of Pikachus that we can use. Unfortunately, the Gigantamax Pikachu that's actually good, it's unavailable to us. It's not in the game, so we can't even use that one. So unfortunately, we have to stick with the other ones. At the very least, there are some Pikachu clones that have some different typings at the very least, so they're pretty good. And we can use as many Pikachus. They can be duplicates. We just have to try to beat the game basically using only Pikachu clones. A very tough challenge, I'm not gonna lie, but for my suffering, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It means a lot to me that you guys can. I'm doing it out of order, but each of my Pokemon will be nicknamed after you guys, and here are the nicknames I picked up for this challenge video. If you guys want to be nicknamed after a future Pokemon, just drop in the comments like I said. Anyways, let's get into the challenge video. Oh my god. So to start off the challenge, we have to obviously get a starter, get through the tutorial. The first part of the game pretty easily, the best part of the game actually. And then from there, once we head into Viridian City, you're able to catch yourself some Pikachus, which is great. So we caught some Pikachus, added to our team. We're going to actually catch up to 6 full Pikachus. We can't get the alternate forms just yet. We just have to get a whole team of Pikachus for now, and they're actually pretty decent as we face off against the first mini boss of the game, and we beat down Faulkner, which the highlight of this entire playthrough. But from there we're gonna face off against Brock next, and if you guys do know Brock, he's troublesome. He's gonna start the battle off against us using a Geodude, which I go out with my own Pikachu. I'm gonna use Dull Eyes, which is the priority move that lowers the attack stat of the Pokemon in front of you. And we actually end up 1v1ing his Geodude because of that. We got a lucky crit and knocked him out. His next Pokemon is going to be a Vulpix, which I'm going to save this Pikachu. It allows me to Dull Eyes later on. And I'm going to Electric Ball down the Vulpix, which I'm able to get a 3-shot on it. And his next Pokemon is going to be an Onix, which I also end up Dull Eyesing, which lowers the attack stat. This actually can force him out into his Arcan, surprisingly. And that allowed me to Electric Ball and knock him out. Now there's 5 Pikachu against 1 Onix. Let's see how well we can do. We're going to lower its attack stat as much as we can, because at this point it can actually switch out. So it's good for us to lower its attack stat because it's important to just weaken him. And from there we're going to actually go for quick attacks, thieves, any move that does any damage, because apparently Pikachu has a higher physical attack than special attack, so it doesn't make any sense, but it actually works out for us the most, even though it goes down to our very last Pikachu. I know it was a 5v1. This Onix really messed me up. I also employed a very smart strategy of using Tail Whip as a move. So yeah, eventually I am going to beat down this Onix, and eventually we end up beating Brock just barely with Thief, and we end up getting the first gym badge of the game. That's actually one of the battles that I was scared of, and we actually got through that within like a relative decent point. From there, we're going to head into Mount Moon, and we're going to beat down both the mini bosses in here pretty easily. As you see, we have a bunch of Pikachus left over, which we actually end up doing better than most of my challenge runs, surprisingly. From there, we're going to face off against the next gym leader. We're going to face off against Misty next. Misty's the water type gym leader, and she's actually pretty easy. As we start the battle off against her, using my Pikachu to Tail Whip into the Lantern. Eventually, we're going to knock him out. We're using Fake Out, Quick Attack, all the things. Eventually, even though it takes down a few of my Pikachus with burns and whatever, but we're eventually going to be able to knock down his Lantern. And then her next Pokemon is going to be the Starmie, which I'm able to Thundershock and get a Thief off against her. And from there, Electro Ball will knock out the Starmie. Thunder Wave will actually get the Frogadier, knock them out. And then our final Pokemon will be a Floatzel, which I get down pretty easily and knocked out. Noodles went crazy. Noodles, the Pikachu, destroyed the rest of Misty's team. But from there, we're going to have to struggle a lot at Nugget Bridge. As you can see, I spent a lot of time facing off against this person, but eventually we'll get through him. We head into the SSN at the very least. We're going to beat down our rival and get the HM for cut, and that will allow us to go out into Rock Tunnel, which we're able to catch ourselves a Helioptile, which we're not going to get the Helioptile. We're going to get the yellow shards from him, which is going to allow us to get the variants as we make our way through Rock Tunnel into Celadon City. We're going to soft reset each time in front of this NPC over here that gives us the Pikachu variants. We don't want any hat Pikachus because those are useless. They're just Pikachu with a hat on. So we want the variant Pikachus. As you see, I got the ice one, the fairy one. You get 7 different one of them, so we're gonna get all 7 of them. And eventually we're gonna have a full team of Pikachu, and then we're gonna face off against the next gym leader in the game. We're gonna face off against Lieutenant Surge. Surge is gonna be the electric type gym leader in the game, and it's actually pretty easy as we start the battle off against him using my steel type Pikachu, which is going to discharge twice into the Pincurchin to knock him out. Also extreme speed. They all have extreme speed, which is really nice. So we're able to fake out extreme speed, knock out his Raichu as well. His next Pokemon is going to be a Vikavolt, which isn't too scary for us because also each of the Pikachu variants have a special unique move to them. So the ice one's going to have Freezy Frost and whatever. So we're able to knock out the Vikavolt with that. His next Pokemon is going to be his Mega Manectric, which is going to knock down my ice type Pikachu, but I'm able to fake him out and then hit him with a huge Sparkling Swirl, which is the fairy type move, and I'm able to extreme speed to knock him out. And finally his Boltund just gets extreme speeded down, and we end up beating Lieutenant Surge pretty easily. You can see that they're not very survivable. They have very low defenses. I think they have 40 defenses. So I don't think they could take a move at all. So from there, we're going to face off against the next gym leader in the game very quickly as we start off the battle off against Erica using my flying Pikachu, which is going to air slash into the Rillaboom, which I thought I was going to be unaffected by the grassy terrain, but he hits me with the grassy glide. I'm able to do a lot of damage against the Electrode and also the Rillaboom, which will allow me to go out into my Pikachu Lubre, which is going to knock out the Electrode, which is, I mean, pretty good for us at the very least. I mean, he knocks me up, but I knock him out as well, so it's a nice trade. And from there, I can switch out into my Punk Star Pikachu, which is going to Iron Head and actually flinch down the Venusaur and knock him out to pretty low HP at this point. And then I can send out my other Pikachus to fake out and extreme speed to knock out the Venusaur. Things are looking pretty good for us. As our next Pokemon is going to be a Superior, which I get to extreme speed. Extreme speed is really good on Pikachu apparently, as we end up knocking down her Superior with it as well. Her final Pokemon will be a Meganium. I don't remember this one's name, but this Pikachu that's Ice type will knock out the Meganium, and we got our 4th gym badge of the game, which is pretty simple. Okay, we like that. Now here comes the tough part. We had to beat down Giovanni. This Giovanni fight took me at least like 16-17 minutes for just this battle. Then we're gonna go out into this double battle fight with Ariana and Archer and have Brendan as her teammate, and it does not work out for us. This took also extremely long for no reason. And you're actually gonna find out later that the abilities on most of these Pikachus are completely worthless, and you'll see why their abilities. I'll get to that eventually, but we end up beating Ariana and Archer after like 11 minutes of just constantly fighting them. And then we face off against Giovanni, which isn't too hard of a fight normally, but in this challenge we need all the luck possible. So we need static to actually affect Kangaskhan, and that's the only way we're able to beat down this Kangaskhan at all. Finally we get past this. This took another 20 minutes to get past, and from there we can face off against Sabrina. And I feel bad for Sabrina because she's the only gym leader that I didn't have to reset against. This is my first attempt. We're gonna start the battle off against Sabrina using my Punk Rock Pikachu and my Balloon Pikachu to actually air slash into the Indeedee and Iron Head into the Hatterene, and we actually don't get a flinch surprisingly, and we still actually first try her because she sends out her Ursaluna. We know that's predictable. It's gonna go for a protect, and we just got a double attack into the Indeedee, which Iron Head will knock him out. Her next Pokemon is going to be a Gardevoir, which I know I just got to attack it and then do some chip damage against the Ursaluna, and that should be fine. Iron Head to knock out the Gardevoir, do a lot of chip damage with Psychic, and then basically this is done because her Ursaluna is going to go for a protect. I go out into my Pikachu Libre. It's going to Wild Charge into him, and as you see, this is the part where I forgot Lightning Rod affects my turn. So I actually messed up with that, but it works out because I could just go for a Flying Press with my Pikachu Libra and end up knocking out the Crawdon as the Ursaluna goes down. Oh, well, it goes down to burn. But we're on her last 2 Pokemon with Crawdon and Porygon 2. We're going to knock out the Crawdon easily, and then the Porygon 2 can't really do anything as it's more of a support Pokemon. So we end up knocking out the Porygon 2 pretty easily and get our 5th gym badge of the game, I think. From there, we also can get the Focus Sash from Chuck, which also took a long time to beat down Chuck, but luckily we got lucky against Lucario and we end up beating Chuck. From there, I don't think you guys have ever realized how difficult Cycling Road is with only Pikachus, because they have like a whole 400, I think they have a whole 400 base stat total, and everything here kills me. I hate this challenge. From there, we're going to head into Fuchsia City and face off against the next gym leader in the game at the least. We're face off against Koga, and I don't show all their soft resets, but there's at least 20 soft resets until we actually get through the actual fight. So we're going to start the battle off against his Swallow using Pikachu Libre to Ziggy Zap, which is going to be first and always critical. A priority move that's always critical, always looks pretty nice. So we end up beating down the Swallow pretty easily, and then we're going to nuzzle into the Selgor. And then from there, you might be wondering why I dig. It's useful at one point. Once we get the Selgor paralyzed, we're going to switch it into my Ice-type Pikachu and then set up Agility and also a Nasty Plot, which from there I could just sweep down his entire team. I beat down the Selgor, beat down the Drapion, beat down Toxicity. Yeah, I do. And then the Greninja will knock me out, but at that point the battle is basically over since I could just Ziggy Zap and knock out his Greninja. And then from there, his final Pokemon will be that Drag Ball. All I gotta do is just keep attacking him. Lucky enough, my Air Balloon Pikachu is able to knock him out with an air slash, but that got pretty close with 3 HP. Even with the setup, I was still almost losing that fight. From there, we're gonna face off against Price, which I think is the only trainer we really need to get the choice scarf from. And at the end of the day, I don't really think we need a choice scarf. We need more the focus sash, which unfortunately they patched it a long time ago where you can't get multiple focus sash, I don't think. But from there, we can move on and face off against the 7th gym leader in the game. We're going to face off against Blaine next. Blaine is going to be the fire type gym leader in the game, and we're going to start the battle off against him using my air balloon Pikachu to air slash into his Torkoal and get a flinch, force him out into his Typhlosion, and then break his ability. From there though, I don't know what to do. I was panicking. I was like, oh, didn't expect this one. So I'm gonna go for a Ziggy Zap. At least I know for sure I can knock out the Typhlosion. So I can knock out the Typhlosion for free. He then switches out to his Cinderace, which I sack my Air Balloon Pikachu. Get a Paralyze on him too, which is insane. So that I'm gonna take, obviously. So I switched out to my Pikachu Scientist. And they're just dumb names at this point. I'm gonna Agility and Nasty Plot in front of him. Nasty Plot into he runs out of Sucker Punches. And I actually I lost track, I think, because he kept getting paralyzed. But he got paralyzed again. I Psychic to knock him out. Psychic to Torkoal. Executor, I knocked him to low HP. I think he only survived because of his Focus Sash. Then I switch out to my Fighting type Pikachu to fake out to knock out the Executor and also get a Nuzzle off against the Sunflora. And I end up knocking him out 1v1. And his final Pokemon will be his Charizard, which I get a nice Ziggy Zap on him and another Ziggy Zap to knock him out. And we end up beating Blaine, which very clutch. We also get a Choice Specs from him. I don't think we ever used it though. But from there, we're gonna face off against Ariana and Archer, and you gotta watch this fight. This fight is honestly the highlight of my entire. This made the entire challenge worth it because we actually solo against Archer. We 1v1 Archer with my Surfing Pikachu. One Pokemon destroyed his entire team, and he had nothing. He couldn't stop me. This entire thing was. I ended him. His career is over as a Pokemon trainer. I destroyed Archer just like that. We waited for him to waste all our Sucker Punches and then just knocked him out. And then against Ariana, we get lucky and we end up beating her as well. But since we have a full team of 6, it was more easier than not. So we end up beating Ariana, and Ariana was the harder fight in this challenge. But that's funny. We end up, oh my god, Archer is so bad. From there, we're going to face off against our hardest battle in the game. Well, second hard. I take it back. Second hardest battle in the game. We're going to face off against Giovanni. And this team of Pikachu sucks. Like, I hate doing this so much. I had to reset. I had to think of plans. I felt like I had a good plan. It just wasn't going right each time, and just hate it. I hate it each time. That's why I got Dig to waste some turns so Lance could kill more of his Pokemon, but it just doesn't end up working at all. And eventually, we just get lucky. Most of the time, actually, Lance's Salamence start earthquaking me and not the other team, which I don't understand what he's doing. What's his problem with me? But from there, we get very lucky, and Giovanni throws, and we get a nice Paralyze on him, all that good stuff. Salamence ends up finally knocking out the Mewtwo. Sometimes he would just start roosting in place, which is super annoying, but we're going to beat down Giovanni and then face off against the 8th gym leader in the game. We're going to face off against Claire next. Claire is the 8th gym leader, and we're going to start the battle off against her using my Balloon Pikachu, my Flying type one, to Zigzag into the Aerodactyl and to knock him out for sure. Her next Pokemon is going to be a Magearna, which I know I want to go for a Nuzzle. And lucky enough, I do go for a Nuzzle as she only goes for a Shift Gear. And from there, I can't let any of my Pokemon die to a Fleur Cannon, or it can get a special attack boost. Even though it drops the special attack, it's just not good because I have no special defense. I have no defenses at all. So I decided to switch out into my Pikachu Libra. And I'm able to get a Light Screen off against him. Take a Fleur Cannon as well, which is not nice. From there, I can switch out to my Ice type Pikachu. Gets a Fleur Cannon to the face, but from there she's already dropped 4 special attack drops, so I'm gonna stay in. I'm gonna go for a Nasty Plot, and I know she's gonna switch out to her Dragonite, so I get a Freezy Frost onto it to knock him out. She switches back to her Magearna. I take some chip damage. I end up not knocking her out, which is so bad, but she goes for a Flare Cannon and knocks me out, which is unfortunate. I go out into my Surfing Pikachu, and I was looking for a Paralyze against this Naganadel, which actually ends up working kinda. I mean, she ends up letting me knock him out for some reason. And then she switched back into her Magearna. I knock him out with Zigzag. I do some chip damage against the Dragovich. And from there, I go for a Nuzzle. I'm trying for a Hail Mary play right here as I'm going for my Nuzzle against the Dragovich. And to set up using my Fairy type Pikachu. Agility into a Nasty Plot. Luckily enough, I survive, and then from there I can Sparkling Swirl to knock out the Dragovich. I needed to make sure I knock out the Drawdon and outspeed him, and luckily I do, and also knock out the Aerodactyl, and we end up beating Claire. And that's how I set up. I use Agility and also Nasty Plot, so it's pretty embarrassing, but lucky enough, thankfully Pikachu can learn Nasty Plot. From there, we get a very lucky battle against Brendan, and we end up beating Brendan just barely beating Brendan, I'm not gonna lie. From there though, we're gonna head into Victory Road, clear through Victory Road like always, and then head into the Elite Four, which I was really hoping we're gonna face off against Lorelei's water team, because I felt like I had a chance to beat down her water team. I don't know what I was gonna do against the Swampert, but of course it was never to be, as we face off against her Hail team, and this took, no joke, over an hour and 22 minutes of facing against the same two Pokemon, finding the correct method to face off against Lorelei. So here's the method. So we're gonna start the battle off against Lorelei using my Iron type Pikachu with a Choice Scarf, also my Surfing Pikachu to fake out into the Ninetales. This thing does not have a Focus Sash, luckily enough. I have that on my Pikachu Libra. And then from there, I need to get a crit or a maximum roll Iron Tail with a defense drop, so I can knock out the Glaceon in 2 turns. My Surfing Pikachu is going to be in charge of to knock out the Glaceon after my Steel type and knocks down the Glaceon to low HP. From there, we're able to outspeed the Ninetales, avoid the Aurora Veil, which will obviously force us to lose. From there, we're going to attack the Azumarill, and luckily enough, it gets static. This is the only way we could win, because this Azumarill is very annoying. From there, I go out to my Air Balloon Pikachu. I go for a fake out against the Rotom so it doesn't attack me. And then, lucky enough, the Air Balloon Pikachu does not have Lightning Rod, so I'm able to go for a Thunderbolt against the Azumarill to knock him out. So we end up knocking out the Azumarill. Now is a decent battle. I go for an Air Slash and also a Thunderbolt against the Calyrex to see if I could get any type of status infliction. I do get a flinch on him, which is really nice. From there, I'm going to go for a Sparkling Sword to make sure I get rid of the burn status on me and hope Air Slash gets another flinch. I do get another flinch off against the Calyrex, which is amazing. From there, all I gotta do is attack him the same way again, Sparkling Swirl into the Rotom to knock him out, and then Air Slash because I know I can outspeed the Calyrex. This calculation, Rotom actually outspeeds me, but it goes for Hail, which is bad play on him. I knock out the Rotom, and also Air Slash will knock out the Calyrex. I go down to the Hail obviously, but I still have 2 Pokemon on my team which can survive a Blizzard from the Abomasnow, which is the biggest threat on her team. Lucky enough, I am able to just barely beat her, as I'm able to Extreme Speed and then Freezy Frost to knock out the Abomasnow, and we end up barely beating Lorelei after an hour and 20 minutes. Jeez. From there, we're going to face off against Bruno. Bruno's going to be the Fighting type Elite Four member of the game. She's not too big of a threat. All I got to do is beat down the Infernape, which isn't too difficult in itself. From there, I switch out into my Air Balloon Pikachu to get a Nuzzle on him, and then switch back into my Punk Rock Pikachu to set up a Reflect and do some chip damage. And then my Pikachu Libre is going to do some more chip damage to force him into using Mach Punch or something. So I decided to go for a Nasty Plot in front of him using my Fairy type Pikachu. It did not work. He's going to knock me out with an Ice Punch. I go out into my Surfing Pikachu, which also has Nasty Plot, so I decided to go for a Nasty Plot with him. And I get 2 Nasty Plots in front of the Conk. Go for an Agility as well, as he knocks me down to low HP with a Mach Punch. And I'm praying at this point, this is the luckiest Paralyze ever. He gets paralyzed as I go for a Bouncing Bubble. I'm able to absorb his HP, get my HP all the way up, and then do it again against the Urshifu, which isn't a water type in this one. And I'm able to knock out the Urshifu and the Como all the way down. Super easy. And also the Zacian gets a Thunderbolt to his face to get knocked out, and also the Lucario. And we end up beating Bruno with another lucky setup move. You can't blame me, I'm using Pikachu. I gotta use all the luck possible. From there, we're going to face up against Agatha. We're going to start the battle off against Agatha using my Punk Rock Pikachu to Iron Head into the Grimmsnarl to knock him out. She then switched out into her Dragapult, which is going to be a big problem. I decided to go out into my Air Balloon Pikachu to inflict static on it, and then go back into my Punk Rock one to Iron Head into it looking for a flinch. He goes for a Phantom Force, but I'm going to set up Reflect as he gets paralyzed, and I know that it's not going to let me knock them out. So he's going to go for his Hydreigon. I go out into my Fairy type Pikachu, go for Agility, which is a horrible play. I go for a Sparkling Swirl next to knock him out. Her next Pokemon is going to be a Spectrier. I go for a Ziggy Zap at least to do some chip damage, and then go out into my Surfing Pikachu, give some more Ziggy Zap damage, and then go out into my Punk Rock Pikachu, go for a Zippy Zap, not Ziggy Zap. I keep saying Ziggy Zap, it's a Zippy Zap to knock out the Spectrier. Her next Pokemon is going to be a Dragapult, which I got a lucky Reflect on as she gets paralyzed again. I switched out actually into my Pikachu Libra, just out of scaredness because I thought she's going to switch out anyways. She switched out to her Marshadow, which I caught, and I'm able to Nuzzle into him. And then Ziggy Zap is always a crit, and Bulk Up doesn't matter as I'm able to Zippy Zap into him, knock him down to low HP, which is unfortunate, but I'm able to go out to my Ice type Pikachu to Zippy Zap and knock out the Marshadow, do a lot of damage against the Gengar. And since my Punk Rock Pikachu is actually an adamant nature with a Light Bulb, it's able to knock him out with a Zippy Zap. And Gengar goes down, and also I outspeed the Dragapult, and I know an Iron Head will knock him out. And we end up beating Agatha pretty easily. Actually pretty stressful, but it was pretty easy. From there, we're going to face off against Lance next. Lance is going to be the Dragon type Elite Four member, and we're going to start the battle off against her. Not trying to face off against his Garchomp. That is an insta loss. So we're going to face off against his Aerodactyl, using my Zippy Zap on my Surfing Pikachu to knock him out in 2 shots. His next Pokemon is going to be a Dragonite, which I outspeed and nuzzle into him. Which I don't outspeed, obviously, but I get a nuzzle onto him. So I broke his multi-skill and also get a paralyze on him, which is looking pretty good for me. I'm unfortunately going to sack my Surfing Pikachu, which isn't too big of a deal. I switch out to my Ice type to Freezy Frost into him to knock him out. Then his Dracovish comes on next. I go for his Zippy Zap. I'm just going to do some chip damage. I can't knock this thing out for sure. So I go out into my Punk Rock one to do more damage. It goes down, unfortunately. And then the third Pikachu will eventually knock him out with his Zippy Zap. As Dracovish goes down, Dialga comes on next. I get a nuzzle onto him as he roar times me and knocks me out, which is unfortunate. I then go out to my Fairy type Pikachu, which I'm going for a Nasty Plot, and then get a lucky paralyze against him. Sparkling Swirl will almost knock him out. I go for another one immediately. I thought about getting greedy, but I know if he hits me, I lose instantly. So I go for a Sparkling Swirl to knock him out. I go for a Thunderbolt against the Melmetal to get a paralyze. He doesn't get paralyzed, and I go out into my Pikachu Libre. I've been in this situation multiple times. For some reason, he always switches out when it's my Pikachu Libre against his Melmetal. So he goes out to his Salamence. I go for a Nuzzle. But that battle is still tough. I gotta dodge some moves. Hopefully he gets paralyzed. I hit him with a Ziggy Zap. He gets paralyzed. I hit him with another one. He goes for a Dragon Dance. And then from there, I can knock him out because Zippy Zap is always going first. I end up knocking out his Salamence, and then his final Pokemon will be a Melmetal, which I go for a close combat and knock him out. And this close combat signature move finally works out. It's the first time I used it probably. And I end up beating Lance, and now we head into the champion room. We end up facing off against our rival next. We're going to start the battle off against our rival using my Punk Rock Pikachu to fake out into his Pheromosa. Zippy Zap to knock him out. Good start. From there, I could Zippy Zap into the Metagross just to sack my Punk Rock Pikachu. I go out to my Pikachu Libre, and I am contemplating if I want to Reflect or Nuzzle. I need to Nuzzle for sure to paralyze him. Go out into my Air Balloon Pikachu to set up Reflect. Zippy Zap into him. If I can lower his HP low enough, he's going to go for a Bullet Punch regardless. So I go out into my Surfing Pikachu. I go for a Nasty Plot. He gets paralyzed. I'll go for a second one. He goes for Bullet Punch. And since Bouncing Bubble, my signature move, actually regains HP, I have no worries of letting him just beat me down. From there, I can Bouncing Bubble to get my HP back from the Metagross. He then switched out to his Yveltal, which I just had to outplay him using Agility 5 different times. And Bouncing Bubble will not knock out the Yveltal, so I had to go for a Discharge. End up discharging, Yveltal going down. And I put Discharge on, hoping for a Paralyze against the Eternatus, which took a lot of time to think about this, but Discharge gets a Paralyze on the Eternatus, which is insane. From there is a 50-50 whether he switched out to his Groudon or not. I hope he didn't switch out. So I go for a Bouncing Bubble. It ends up knocking out the Eternatus. Okay, this is possible now. His next Pokemon is going to be a Primal Groudon, which actually counters all my Pikachus, obviously. From there, he's going to Fire Punch into my Surfing Pikachu. Gets a Static on him. He gets Static on the last battle. All I need to do is play safe. I go for a Sparkling Swirl. Obviously did no damage. I go out to my Ice type Pikachu and I go for a Freezy Frost against his Groudon. It two-shots him. He gets paralyzed as well. And then I end up Freezy Frosting him. Once again, knock out his Groudon. His final Pokemon will be a Ditto. It copies my Pikachu. It goes for Extreme Speed. It's going to three-shot me. But I two-shot him with Extreme Speed and Freezy Frost. And I end up beating down our rival. And there it goes. We end up beating Radical finally using all Pikachus. Which, oh my god, thankfully the torture has been lifted. 8 hours of this challenge is such a grueling challenge. I thought this challenge was difficult for sure. When I went into this, I knew it was not gonna be easy, but I did not know it was gonna be this difficult. But I'm actually glad to have done this because this is actually one of my favorite challenges that I've completed. Yeah, and I want to say thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for leaving a comment and giving me the suggestion to do the challenge. I hate you. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you guys can, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It means a lot to me. And I'll see you guys next time for another challenge video. My name is Ben Alpha. Hope you guys all had a great day, and I'm out. Peace.